consistent revision is everything in A levels, because the more practice you do, the more easier it will be to spot patterns within the mark scheme. If you do any extracurricular sports, don't quit it. I took the decision that I wasn't going to follow the teacher's pace. I would go ahead of the class. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this video is kind of different to the ones I usually do, but today is about A levels. So I know some of you who have just finished GCSEs will be starting year 12 in September, so I just decided to do a brief overview on what sixth form is like from my experience. So just a bit about me, I completed my A levels a month ago because I'm filming this in July. So the subjects I chose were biology, chemistry and maths, and in my school it's compulsory that you do either 4 subjects or a level 3 qualification. So in my case I did an EPQ. So why did I choose this combination of subjects? So I knew that I wanted to do a healthcare related course in the future because I was more interested in all the sciencey subjects. So going back to the EPQ, you get the opportunity to conduct some form of research before university, and I guess that makes your application stand out. And also another benefit of EPQ is that you can get a reduced offer, so like 1 grade lower, but like I'll get onto all the EPQ stuff later on in the video. So that was the introduction. So now I'm going to go into the main bit of the video, and the first, I guess, subheading is how are A levels different from GCSEs. So starting off with the jump in difficulty, I personally didn't find the jump massive. However, there are a lot of reasons why someone would. In my case, I wouldn't say I found the jump massive because I knew what I was signing up for. However, with A levels, you go into greater breadth and depth of content. So obviously like the pace is like much quicker and there's more information being thrown at you. They have to cram and revise and study for. And for the subjects that I did, in our exams there were more like application questions, so linking different areas of the course together. But everyone's transition into A levels is different. Honestly, if you start year 12 and you're like, oh my days, what is going on, I'm pretty sure hundreds of other people are feeling the same. So moving on to learning independence, honestly you are responsible for your own learning. You need to hand in homework on time, you need to make sure if you're missing notes, like you alert the teacher or let other classmates know to help you. It's all on you. At the end of the day, you're sending the exam, is your grades. Like, one really important thing is the specification. So if you don't know what the specification is, every subject for each exam board has a specification that is free online. I'm pretty sure it's like a PDF or something. It's like a really long document full of everything that you need to know for your exams. Sometimes my teachers would probably unintentionally miss out some content that we needed to know, and I would always, like, after every lesson I would always refer back to the specification and see if I have all the notes for what I need to know. You don't want to be at a disadvantage compared to other students who know how to use the specification. And also sometimes the teachers would give you information that you don't even need, because the mistake I made was like taking every word from my teacher and making that into revision notes when I didn't actually need to know that information. So I was just like cramming all this information and half of it was just like wasn't necessary. So another thing that's important to take into account is how frequently you revise. So consistent revision is everything in A levels, especially when you go into year 13, because you will forget stuff from year 12. And I'm not saying you should do like all-nighters every day or like work yourself to the point of exhaustion. 2-3 hours every day after school is fine. Obviously, like when you're starting year 12, you'll want to get settled into that A level mindset. So maybe don't start off revision too early. When it gets to that like December, January time of year 12, you should start doing consistent revision because it's better to get into the habit of it then than struggling in year 13. And honestly, it's so important to use your year 12 summer as best you can. Obviously, if you're preparing for like entrance exams like UCAT, ESAT, TMUA, etc., focus on those during your summer. But if you have like a few weeks after your exam to do some revision, I'd definitely dedicate that time to revise. Make sure you're okay with year 12 content, because going into year 13, like, the content gets a lot more tougher. Your year 12 topics kind of set the foundation for majority of the year 13 topics anyway. So teacher support. So I think it varies between schools. So like, depending on which school you go to, your level of support from teachers will be different. But from my school, the teacher support was actually quite great. I know a lot of my teachers which ran clubs before and after school to help students who needed help. I think the support system in my school was quite good. I attended a few of them and they really helped. Any form of support set by teachers, I would most definitely look into that. Okay, so this section of the video is delving into my different subjects into more detail. So I'm going to start off with EPQ. So what EPQ is a level 3 qualification. So it's apparently the equivalent of half an A level. And something I like about EPQ is the topic you write an essay on can be on pretty much anything at all. So because I knew I wanted to pursue a career in healthcare, I made my EPQ essay healthcare related. Anything that relates to your course and will help you in one way or another. So because EPQ is like a long essay and you also have 3 other subjects on the side, it can be a bit time consuming. But honestly, if you plan your time well, you'll be able to find time to do little chunks of your EPQ. So with organising your time, I made a routine to do at least an hour of EPQ before bed. So obviously I didn't start this initially because, you know, I was still trying to wrap my head around the idea of an EPQ and what I needed to write. So when choosing your EPQ topic, I would recommend choosing a topic that is related to the career you want to pursue, or something related to your subjects maybe. And also because you're going to be doing it throughout the entirety of year 12, it's important that you choose a topic that you have a high interest in and you know that can be sustained for that amount of time. If you're wanting to do an EPQ, I'd say do some research into a topic you're interested in, and also go online to see if there are a lot of sources to use. So online articles, journals, newspaper reports that link to the topic, because obviously one of the skills you need in an EPQ is to be able to source information. Choose a topic that has a lot of research done into it. That's another thing to take into account when choosing an EPQ title. So something that came as a surprise to me about EPQ was how you also had to do a presentation to present in front of your class. So moving on to biology, so I did the exam board OCRA. Whatever exam board you do of biology, the content is heavy. So revision methods I use for biology, I think I used a range of different revision methods. So as I said before, don't use the notes you take in school as your main source of revision. Our school lent us this like really thick biology textbook and it pretty much had all the information you need to know. However, this chunky textbook did have a lot of unnecessary information, hence why it was so thick. But it was good at visualizing processes and cycles, and they also came with like detailed explanations, so that textbook was really helpful. I also did try using the CGP textbook as well for biology, but because the notes are way too summarized, it didn't really help. I also did use Save My Exams for more diagrams and visual learning. And then also active recall is also really important. So if you don't know what active recall is, it's basically testing the knowledge you have of something and trying to build up on that. Examples of active recall include doing flashcards and blurting. So with YouTube videos for learning, I personally use BioRack, so they're great for visual learning. So a lot of the complex processes and cycles that have diagrams that you need to know with the explanation behind it as well. A lot of people recommend Miss Estruck. I personally didn't use her as much because she's more focused on AQA biology, which I don't do. And also past papers are really important, so maybe before your final exams in year 12 just do all the past papers, because you'll get a feel of like the timing, the type of questions asked. exam style. So how do you excel when studying biology? So I would say go over content frequently, because from all the knowledge you have to top up on, it's really easy to forget all the stuff you've learned in the past. So I would regularly do a refresh on all those old topics, especially the ones you learn in year 12. And then with certain question styles like data and application questions, it just comes with lots of practice, so exposing yourself to those past paper questions. So I found practice questions for biology using physics and maths tutor, and also I did use this CGP exam practice workbook. So what no one told me prior to starting year 12 about biology is that you get a practical endorsement. So this is just a whole load of practicals that you have to pass. You usually do these practicals in school. If you fail the first time, there will be plenty of chances to be able to pass in other practicals, because I know like a lot of skills overlap. And also another thing I didn't get told was the statistical tests you have to do and knowing how to calculate and analyze statistics. But the thing was, because I took maths and statistics was part of the course, I didn't really find it to be much of a struggle. Our school recommended this book. This is like really helpful. Also, something I didn't like about biology was the specific mark scheme. Doing past papers over and over again, you'll see patterns on how to answer questions according to the mark scheme, so you don't lose easy marks. So moving on to chemistry, I'd say there's more memorization as opposed to application. So just like simple things like equations, molecular structures, colours of compounds, mechanisms, organic synthesis are all stuff that you need to memorize. So it helps to have a good memory for chemistry. So with revision methods, I say Allery Chemistry is the #1 YouTube resource for chemistry, AQA chemistry. I do AQA exam board if I didn't say that in the beginning. It's honestly the best for self-teaching, and all the information given to you are pulled directly from the spec. It's pure facts, no waffle, straight to the point. I also did have the CGP one. I'm pretty sure I opened it like 1 or 2 times in year 12 and just abandoned it. I'm not saying CGP is bad, but I just didn't personally use this. ChemRevise is a website full of chemistry notes. So it has both year 12 and year 13 notes. Again, all the information is pulled straight from the specification. So you can pretty much just use ChemRevise notes along with Allery Chemistry. And honestly, that duo just makes the perfect revision combination. So with practice questions, you have PMT, which I use for like all my subjects. And then I used this website called winterweebly.com. If you just type in winterweebly chemistry, it should come up, and those questions are old spec questions, like all the old questions from like before 2016 are like all on there. Honestly, the content for chemistry hasn't changed. It's more like the exam style format, I'd say. Practice is the best thing you can do for chemistry, because the more practice you do, the more easier it will be to spot patterns within the mark scheme, and then the more easier it is to structure your answer according to the mark scheme. Because I know the grade boundaries in chemistry are quite high currently, because they repeat questions year on year. The idea of the question is repeated. So how do you excel in A-level chemistry? So coming in fresh from GCSE summer, I was like, oh, chemistry is going to be such light work. Boy, did I get humbled really quickly. Chemistry was not what I expected it to be. I guess I was falling behind quite a bit in the first weeks of year 12, but because I decided to put in the work to catch up and actually understand chemistry as a whole, I did much more better, and chemistry became one of my favourite subjects in A-level as opposed to year 12 when I absolutely hated it. So what no one told me before starting year 12 about chemistry, again the practical endorsement, and then also calculation questions. So it all just comes with practice basically, because these calculation questions are like really high marks. You need to make sure that you're okay with calculations and just maths in general. Also, knowing how to draw your mechanisms also will gain you a lot of marks, and also knowing your definitions. I know most of the time they don't come up, but even though they're just 1 or 2 marks, that 1 mark could be the difference between the next grade up. So make sure you learn your definitions as well. Moving on to maths, I did the Edexcel exam board, and in terms of content, I would say that the jump from year 12 to year 13 is greater than GCSE Tier 12, but that's how I felt. So with revision methods and resources, honestly, if you don't understand the concept, you should run to Bison Maths. If you don't know what Bison Maths is, it's a YouTube channel run by a teacher called Mr. Bison, and literally all his videos are just like going through topics in detail. It's basically like a free online lesson if you want to think about it like that. So with practice questions as well as the textbook questions, I'd also recommend Maths Genie. They have some good questions, especially if you just learn a topic. And they also have Dr. Frost, and then you also have PMT as well. So PMT have like old specification maths questions, and then also past papers. As usual, do your past papers because there's a lot of surprising questions you can find doing maths past papers, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for whatever comes in your actual exams. An annoying thing I'd say with maths is that in GCSE the mark schemes would be more lenient, so you'd have like error carried forward. But however, in A level, if your first line of working is incorrect, you get the rest wrong. Like, they literally have no mercy. So how does one excel in maths? Practice is the #1 thing. Like, you have to be doing regular practice. At the end of the day, it's not nice when you have to learn something from scratch because you haven't done it in so long. Don't neglect the topics that stress you out, because I know for me there were quite a few topics that I just didn't want to go through. Like, I didn't have the energy to go through them. And I have noticed in maths that there are a lot more application style questions. So topics that you think would never have any correlation, they've somehow made questions on them to test students on their well-rounded knowledge of the course. Something I'm confused about is to why the questions are getting harder year on year and the grade boundaries are also increasing along with that. Like, Edexcel pan up, because that 2026 exam that I sat, absolutely horrendous. So what no one told me before I started maths A level, I didn't know that applied existed. So applied is stats and mechanics. I thought that A level maths was just pure maths. I mean, it did come as a shock to me because I didn't mentally prepare myself for doing stats and mechanics alongside pure, but honestly I didn't find it as tough. So now that I've covered each of my subjects, now I'm going to move on to mistakes I made during A levels or things I do differently. If you do any extracurricular sports, don't quit it, because I personally was talking to some of my friends who also quit their sports just for A levels because they thought A level would take up all their time. They wouldn't have any time to play their sports, but we were all wrong. Thing is, I could have gone back into it, but I'm not actually sure why I didn't. And then another thing, don't be a sweat in year 12. Like, don't revise 24/7, because that's what I did. Because I thought, oh, because I'm doing A levels, I need to like up my game, I need to be revising so much. No. In the case of revision, quality always supersedes quantity. Because in a nutshell, what happened was I would revise something the week before and then coming to the current week and would find out that I've forgotten everything I've learned before. Honestly, don't work yourself, because you will just find yourself back to square one, having to learn everything all over again. And then also linking with this, don't revise for your final exams too early. Like, you can be going over content regularly like I've discussed before. Don't do in-depth revision that you would do like a few days before your exam, because you don't want to like overwork yourself. It's better to space out your revision. In my case, I left all my harder or complex topics till the end because I wanted them fresh in my head, and those are like the high mark topics as well. And then these are just things I wish someone would have told me before starting A levels, is that it's not compulsory for you to go at the pace of your teachers. I guess this is something that I've already done. It's not something I wish someone would have told me. So coming to like halfway through year 13, when teachers are like warning you of A level exams, start revising, and we still had not finished content, I took the decision that I wasn't going to follow the teacher's pace. I would go ahead of the class, and that really helped me because I had already learned the content beforehand. I had more time then to recap things. Also, there will be some times that for end of topic tests, for example, that you've worked so hard for them and then you don't get the score that you wanted. Honestly, that's perfectly fine. It's happened to me and many others in multiple cases. Don't let it affect your self-esteem and your mindset for future tests. Just keep going. Also, burnout in A level is so real, and honestly, if you don't get that downtime, then it can really affect your academic performance. And also, prioritize sleep. Sleep is really important because you want your brain to be able to take in more knowledge, more information. I know it may be hard during like exam seasons and all that, but try your best because it does make a difference. So ranking my subjects from year 12 through to year 13. So in year 12 I would rank my subjects as biology being first, maths being second, and chemistry being last. And then as opposed to year 13, my rankings would be chemistry, biology, then maths. I know it's like a big difference. I already explained about the chemistry and how I found it hard going from GCSE to A-level, but also because I put in the effort into actually understanding the subject itself, it became one of my favourites. With biology, the content became much more tougher and boring in year 13 compared to year 12. So I'm more interested in like animal biology, but when it comes to like plants and like genetics and all that stuff, I just, because it's on the specs, you just have to learn it. And then with maths, I was still decent at maths. It was just hard for me to wrap my head around as a subject. Like obviously with like the 2026 maths petition and all that, like I do agree with all those people saying that it was hard, because it was hard. Like Edexcel did a study this year, I don't know why. So we're coming to the end of the video now, and the last section is final advice to year 12 students. So I know that once you start A-levels it can get a bit overwhelming, but just know that you still can have a social life, you can still have some downtime and relax. Like A-levels shouldn't be your whole life, and this can only happen if you have great organisation skills, you can plan your life, plan your time, and also establishing an after school routine you can stick to. So like I talked about earlier, doing a few hours of revision after school is perfectly fine. You don't have to be doing hours and hours upon hours every week, because you need to be able to sustain your motivation throughout the 2 years. Just know that your frees are really important. It's not something you get in GCSE, and it also links well with the independent learning I was talking about earlier. So most of my frees I usually did homework, so I wouldn't have to do at home, and because my homework would already be complete, I'd have more time at home to do revision. But then another thing is that you won't ever experience sixth form again, so you should make the most of your sixth form experience. Don't be afraid to approach scary teachers, because yes, they may be tough, but you will find out that if you actually do talk to them, they are nice and they will help you a lot with your learning. Also, if your school does end of topic tests, I'd say you should really like properly study for those. The grades you get in those end of topic tests is what the teacher uses to assess you as an individual, so make sure you have a good impression on your teachers. Also, getting a low predicted grade at the end of year 12 isn't the end of the world. Like obviously there will be some of the like top unis who will use predicted grades to determine whether they give you an offer or not, but there are some other unis that don't take predicted grades into account. So even if you do get low predicted grades, it's not your final result. Like there's still time to improve and get the extra help you do need before exams come around. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed my yapping, giving advice to you prospective year 12 students, and I hope it was helpful. But honestly, take my advice from my personal A-level experience, take advice from other YouTube videos out there. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.